All right, all right, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. We have our first official episode of RareFUD Radio. That is right. The stream has rebranded to RareFUD Radio. And joining me, I have two brilliant co hosts that I'd like to introduce for you guys. First up, let's go ahead and get my man Dor3ann. If you guys have not seen the last episode, I would recommend you check it out. But Dor3ann is a good friend of mine, Cyber Samurai community manager, Taiyo Robotic member, and just overall great guy, great fundamental analysis, has his own YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. Let's bring him on stage. Dor3ann, how you doing, my man?
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for bringing me up here to co-host with you. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be a great net positive for the space. I'm
I
sure
agree.
of it, especially with you and my next co-host by our side. His name is Joe Soul, aka In Dust We Trust, coming in live. Joe is a D Gods Maxi, pretty risk off right now, but still very involved with the space trading soul. He also helps run the D Traders Discord, which trades a bunch of not only NFTs, but mainly I've been seeing a lot of soul charts from Joe. Joe, welcome aboard, sir.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Hope the audio's good. If it's not, let me know. But yes,
little clicky, but we'll roll with it. Yeah, just like a little feedback whenever you talk. Let's go ahead and try that.
Any better?
Yeah. We're good. We're vibing.
Yeah,
well,
man.
Gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to have you guys on board.
Yeah, man.
Want to go ahead and start by introducing you guys. So obviously I gave a little bit of an introduction, but Dor3ann, let's start with you. When did you get into NFTs? When did you get into crypto? Let's get a little background on you, man.
Yeah, man. So I'm I guess, relative newcomer to crypto at this point. I mean, I know people laugh at me about it, but Dogecoin was my first crypto I invested in, and I got in that at like 0.008 cents. So I managed to ride that up to an all-time high of 80 cents, and then it was pretty life-changing for me at that point. So that literally started my journey down the crypto rabbit hole. And then I watched a streamer. His name is Asmodai, legit dude. He hyped up Cyber Samurai a lot back when it first minted, like in September 2021, so almost a year now, surprisingly. And I'm like, you know what? I've been in crypto. Let me try to dabble in NFTs to see what this market is about. So I picked up a Cyber Samurai, and I've been 100% in the NFT since then. It's like I'm so disconnected with the crypto market, but it's fine because I love NFTs. So I managed to not only grow, Cyber Samurai was of course my first NFT, but it really fostered my growth within the Solana ecosystem. I learned a lot of the basics that I need to become successful from Cyber Samurai. And I'm glad that Shake allowed me to contribute and grow in that space. So I grew up to kept developing and turned into the community manager for that project. And then I decided to venture out and start my own YouTube channel. And I post content on that as frequently as possible. And I should have a video coming on Taiyo Robotics that explains the tire ecosystem soon. So sorry if I rambled on too much.
No, you're good, man. I'm really looking forward to that video because as somebody who wants in on that ecosystem, I'm just trying to find the best entry point, right? So is oil, should I pick up an infant? Should I pick up Gen 1? What's the benefits
I go
of all
over
of them?
all of that, man. Any questions you have, that video is probably like 35, 40 minutes, dog. That's why it's taking my editor so long. It's so much.
I'll be a viewer.
For sure. And Joe, what about you, man? So I know Joe from Remnants, actually. Remnants was the first time we interacted. He was lost in the Discord. Discord, did they kind of rug you, Joe?
Yeah, I had two. So I had two Twitters. Both times the following was pretty substantial. And I had two Discord accounts. For some reason, I got botted on each one of them. I had just emails about hateful speech. I don't know why. I never not once had a hateful tweet. So somebody doesn't like me in the space and they still don't. I don't know exactly who it is yet. I worked for a lot of teams as well. I don't dox myself because I have a Web2 business. I employ like over 100 people. So it gets dicey at that point.
Yep.
But for myself, I got into crypto luckily right after the COVID dump. So like right after that capitulation, I was able to accumulate some decent coins like Matic, Ethereum I was into. I never went into BTC because I had the mindset of like, I want that 10, 20, 30x. So I lucked out big time. I took profits at a decent time. and I kind of stabled over. I found Solana NFTs because I got into Ethereum NFTs through, long story short, YouTube BitBoy Crypto. I didn't know anything about crypto at the time at all, right? So I'm like thinking about this and that, and he actually, so I went to Pluto Alliance. Long story short, I got to give him credit, right? Pluto Alliance ended up selling that for like 2 or 3 Ethereum. Immediately saw the Solana space, went in and said, wow, this is so, I went from MetaMask, from OpenSea, to Phantom, and it was like night and day. So instantly I said, I'm going to find out about this ecosystem. I transferred all the rest of my Ethereum into Solana, went in about December, Red Fox Pandas, like Thug Monks, like I've been in the space for a while now. So just to see the progression of these teams, and I mean, we went from just, nothing to substantial ecosystems with IRL businesses and rev share. I mean, it's just insane. So yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. I'm right there with you, man. It's like as soon as I found out about Solana NFTs, I was 100% in, man. I just love this space. And like you were talking about the development over the time from like back last August, September, where it was just like everything. There was just like no utility. It was just crazy madness, man.
It was
but
wild,
now it's like we've come so far.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I think that was the turning point for me. Was I dabbled in Ethereum NFTs, and it was kind of fun, but like, dude, it was so hard to put a finger on the pulse of that market. Like, what was pumping and still is. Like, I mean, we seen Goblin Town just kind of like rock it up for a little bit. We saw crypto dick butts is now like the hot topic right now. Like, for me, it was always like, bro, what ticks like the Ethereum market, and it just never really like made sense to me from a fundamental standpoint. I'm like, how is this going to change the world? Like a picture of a monkey or anything like that. I guess you get some community with it. I think Yuga has taken Ethereum NFTs to where they can be, but I'm just like worried about the cap of what that ecosystem can provide versus when I saw Sol and I saw like everything that was going on there. Like we have a functioning, a few functioning metaverse projects that nobody really talks about because I think metaverse is kind of, that's a topic for another day. But seeing like microtransactions being able to be fostered in a very like economical and fundamental sense is huge. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be big for growing the space. It just made a lot more sense to me. And I think we found a home. Speaking of finding a home, I know you both. So Joe is with DeGods. Dor3ann is with Cyber Samurai, as well as myself, as well as Taiyo Robotics. Let me ask you something, because it's something I've thought about recently, is like, do you find that you like, I have 1 to 3 communities, I would say, that I'm like hardcore, I'm in this community, right? Like I am a contributing member. I'm in it. I'm in the Discord. I'm doing all that good stuff. And then the rest is kind of like trading for me. Do you think like more people should be focusing on that? Because I see a lot of people jumping ship on the next top project and they keep getting burnt. Whereas I've found so much success in building a community within these, like just a few select projects. Talk a little bit about that and like your experiences. I love what Joe's doing with the D-Traders Discord. Dor3ann, obviously, you did not start out as community manager over at Cyber Samurai, right? No. Like that's so talk a little bit. I mean, that got me to the Remnants like Mexico meetup with the team, right? Is because I was just always, I'm like, yo, you guys are building cool shit, and I like that. What brought you guys to your ecosystems?
You can kick it off, Joe. I talked first last time, so I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, man.
No, I'll keep it quick and easy. I mean, I think it's when I'm speaking from a maximalist standpoint with the DeGods, how I've kind of gone risk off my assets at this point, is speaking from a point of privilege, because I've been in the space, I've made a lot of profits, and I'm able to go, you know what, I feel safe putting a large sum of money into one set asset class and then build kind of my IP around that, right? I've gotten to that point where I can kind of do that, expand, and I feel okay with that. I think a lot of people are still where you're trying to build a brand, but you don't want to hold on to said NFT that you're trying to IP or build a PFP around because it's profit for you, right? So there's that fine line that you have to walk and find where your capital management and risk management really is. So, I mean, for me, it's beautiful. I wake up every morning with no upset stomach. I have no sweats. I'm not worrying about checking, Discord this, Magic Eden. I have my one set team. So that's my thought process on it. But I think it's because I've been able to accrue profits and really get to a place where I feel comfortable.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, it really is beautiful to see like an actual community play out, because I know we talk about it a lot within this ecosystem where it's like, oh yeah, I'm part of the community, but like you guys are contributing members to your select communities, and I think that's something that like more people should speak about, right? Dor3ann, let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about how you got to where you are in Cyber Samurai, and then we'll start kicking it off with some of the
Yeah.
topics today.
So like go into your question about like which should you rather contribute to, one community or multiple community. Even though I do hold a Taiyo and I'm doing a video on them, I wouldn't say I'm an active contributing member. Taiyo is important to me because it was a huge milestone to be able to purchase a NFT of that price and still be able to stay liquid. So I think that's why Taiyo is a huge personal achievement mark to me. And I do love the community and I love what's going forward with it. But I do think that it's better for people to prioritize contributing to one community versus trying to split themselves and hop to the next thing. A lot of people at the time I was in Cyber Samurai, I wrote it down from 3 all the way to 0.4. And even at 0.4, I was continuing to buy Cyber Samurai. Not because like I ever expected to become super profitable from it, but the value that I gained from being in the Discord made me more money than I could have ever, whatever the floor price becomes of Cyber Samurai, a lot of my success is attributed to that. So I continue to accumulate these things and continue to attribute to that community because I wanted to see it succeed, because I know there was something special. And it's just like, the problem was people didn't know about it. So I'm like, I made it my duty instead of like, I could have like gone off and I thought about starting my own NFT project, but I'm like, man, that's too much work. So why not just contribute to this one community, pour everything that I have in it to make this one community successful. And then I'll be able to like be profitable and grow my brand from there. And that's how I came up from being just a rando community member to like mod to, and then eventually co-community manager to full-blown on community manager with the Cyber Samurai.
Yeah, man. It just shows that depth in community is like something you should value. I do think like, yeah, we are traders to some extent, right? Like I'm here to make money. That is definitely a portion of why I'm here in NFTs, but it's also to advance, right? Like we do have to make a business out of this, right? Like we have to be profitable in order to sustain ourselves and keep going in this ecosystem. So let's talk about today's topics. Obviously the hot topic on everybody's tongue right now is Utes. We all talk about Utes. You want Utes. I want Utes. We all want Ute list. If you're not Joe, who has 3 dead gods, if I'm not incorrect, then we don't have whitelist. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen real quick. First thing we're going to bring up is Hello Moon. If you guys don't know what Hello Moon is, they are the goated tool in the Solana ecosystem, all for free. If you go to hellomoon.io, you can follow along with us. We are in the NFTs tab, and as you can see right here, we get a ton of just at a glance information right here. See a few of these. I love seeing Lotus Gang at the top of social buying and movers. Let's go Lotus Gang. But the main topic right here is DeGods. So we see social buying and we see smart money outflow. It is on both of these, which is kind of intriguing to me, mainly on the DeGod side. We'll get into the dust side in a second, but this is kind of perplexing to me. I don't know why you would give up your DeGods right now. Just doesn't really make too much sense for me as far as the NFT goes. I get an idea of why the DeFi side on, in the dust side of everything, why some people are selling off. Maybe they didn't get accepted for Ute list yet, or they got rejected right off the bat. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to sell off our dust. That kind of makes sense. But the DeGod's kind of perplexing to me, that people are taking money. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Joe, seeing you're part of the community, you can kick it off, man, and provide some insight for us.
For sure. So I think a big part of the smart money outflow we see with DeGods, we've seen it for about 2 weeks now, almost 2.5 weeks, where we've seen them cycle from top social buying to smart money outflow to smart money inflow even. But a lot of these DeGods that are being sold right now are gods that have been accumulated from a low price, gods that have been traded for and then floored for liquidity. And honestly, anything over 300 floor price, if we can solidify that, I think that's huge. So at the moment, I like royalties for the team. I really do. I love when people don't go to OTC and they hit Magic Eden floor. And I think what we're seeing now is the residual slowing down after the paper hand bitch treats that they put out, right? It's still really cool, right? If you go and get a floor god from the website, you get a random API adjusted amount of dust that could be anywhere from 100+% royalties on it or down to 30%. So I think that excitement, Utes excitement, dust excitement, we're hitting a small plateau. But I do believe 300 SOL could be a continuation point if we solidify over that.
For sure. For sure. Dor3ann, do you have any thoughts before I just share my aha moment of something I might have expected?
No, I agree with Joe. I think it's probably just people like taking profit. Like right now, and it doesn't make any sense to like sell off if you only hold one or two of these things, because Utes, for me, if you really need liquidity, you can just sell your Utes after mint, and I'm sure you'll make instant money. So you're like kind of messing yourself over if you're trying to sell profit at this point. The best time would have been to sell a DeGod for profit was that first run up to what, like it was like 350, close to 400. That would have been prime time to sell, but now it's like a horrible time. So I completely agree with your take on that, Joe.
Yeah. One of the things that popped out to me and what may have been a trigger for a little bit of money outflow is maybe people didn't realize that DeGods, not dead gods, DeGods don't get Utes whitelist. So maybe that's like oh shit, like I have to dead this guy. That's 1,000 dust. Dust is a little expensive right now. Maybe like that might have been a catalyst for a little money outflow of DeGods. That would make sense to me. Because right now I think I haven't given a date or anything like that yet, so we can't really price in like sell the news kind of thing. We have though seen when it comes to new collections, after a new collection, we have so many recent events where these new collections from big projects get released. What happens after that, right? So it is one of those things where everybody's like, yo, my head's telling me that there's going to be another event where we're going to see Utes come out and then DeGods are going to, take a little price hit. And then my heart's telling me that we trust Frank, right? Like if there's anybody who can pull this shit off, it's Frank. So what are your guys' thoughts? Where are you guys headed? Are you guys going to take advantage of the Utes pump and maybe sell if you are holding a DeGod, or if you're like, with Frank, I am, like I'm staying with Frank.
Yeah. I don't know if you should really sell a DeGod now. And I think right now you want to really hold your DeGods. And I think the opportunity is to sell Utes or dust. I think those are the play Vice really is trying to sell your DeGod, mainly because the continued value that you'll accrue from it. So like you're already getting your Utes whitelist. God knows what Frank, I know Dust Labs is working on licensing out their scholarship platform. So I'm sure that I would deduce that people will have to pay in dust to utilize that platform. So I don't see any good reason to sell your DeGod at this point. However, it's like dust, I think that's the move. If like selling dust now, I think it's better to sell dust than to mint a Ute, honestly. I think if you got dust back when it was like ranging from like $1 to 108 and you were accumulating during that time, you take profits and you, regardless of what happens, you're sitting almost at a 2x. And you can just pick up a duppy off of secondary. I don't know. I'm sorry, a Ute off of secondary. I don't know how the price action is going to be exactly, but I think it's more beneficial than trying to buy dust at this point.
Right. Right. Joe, what's your take?
Yeah, so I think that's a beautiful take. I think that's very smart. I think the golden asset is your DeGod. I think that's Frank's baby. Frank's a Bitcoin maximalist at the end of the day. So he based, the tokenomics of dust with these halvings and the ability that he doesn't want DeGod holders to dump dust, right? And that's the whole branch of the olive tree that he's building around behind Utes and behind all the hype is an infrastructure of dust, right? He wants DeGods to hold value. He wants it to be an intrinsic value. He wants the community to feel, pride in holding that DeGod. What I'm thinking is, with the Utes sell-off, right? He's obviously understands this, right? People want to take profits. Utes is instant liquidity. Dor3ann, that's a great point. It really is. Like, you want instant liquidity, you got it. You don't got to wait much longer, But I think he realizes that, and I think there's going to be a huge incentive to hold a dead god and a yuppie, right? And there might be something really cool within the art aspect or something that really tugs on your heartstrings as a holder. So that's my take on it. There might be a little bit of a hesitant to sell if you hold a dead god. Now, if you get a scholarship or a whitelist other than that, we might see some liquidity taken there for sure. So great point, Dor3ann. I agree with you.
Joe, you hit the nail on the head too, man. Like, I'm not sitting here and be like, Frank doesn't have anything planned, because I guarantee you he has something planned. It's like, just because you don't know it yet, people are very reactionary and like to knee jerk, like, oh, it's going to dump. It's going to dump. Well, yeah, it might pull back a little bit, but we don't know if it does at all. There's no guarantee that things will dump. As we seen, like, everybody thought Sets was going to pull back. Sets didn't pull back. That took off. Sure. Everybody thought OK Bears was going to pull back. We all know the story about that. So it's like, we can't, as much as we like to think we know what's going to happen, we don't know. And I'm willing to bet on Frank. Like, he does have something planned that'll incentivize people to hold a Ute, D-God, and Dust. Because this is one thing Tom's doing with his ecosystem, is I think he's created a way to sustain these ecosystem tokens. And the way Frank is doing it as well is having these projects mention Dust and have other platforms utilize Dust. Is a way to make Dust into a sustainable ecosystem token where people no longer want to get rid of it immediately.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah. No, I'm curious to find out what other utilities. I personally loved the scholarship application, but I know we did have one point. Oh, don't want to show that. Go ahead and apply. So if we go to the application part, I know one of the things that we kind of talked about was, is there enough categories, and how was your guys' application? Obviously, Joe, you can't do an application. You already have 3 dead gods, so you didn't really have to worry about that. But Dor3ann, I'm assuming you applied for Ute list. How was your experience doing it?
Believe it or not, man, I'm not going to apply for a Ute list. I plan on picking it up off a secondary. I traded Dust. I think it was a good trade, and I just think I would be more profitable just picking it up off secondary instead of buying back into Dust to be eligible for the Ute list.
I love
Fair
that.
Fair enough. Hey, stick to your guns, man. I'm about it. Now, see, I am a degenerate, and if I get a Ute list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually play the Ute lottery and see if I get a rare Ute. Now, my mint luck sucks ass, so it probably won't happen, but I'm a degenerate, and this is fun, and I got Dust at like, 110 or something like that is my average entry, so if I'm going to play the degenerate game, hell yeah, I'm going to go for it. Now, I will sell a little bit of Dust. I'm sure I will, just to take a little bit of profit, cover my risk basis, and do all that. But I actually loved this application process. One, it gave me, I made a few tweets about it. They gave me an existential crisis. Like, holy shit, am I doing enough for the Solana ecosystem? Like, I could be doing more. It almost was like a little bit of a catalyst. Like, hey, we need to do more. I need to be more intentional about content. I need to be more intentional about how I use Twitter and a platform that I'm growing, right? Like, it was fun. But I do love the fact that they are looking at everybody, right? So it's the builders, it's the brand builders, it's the quality content creators, which is what I applied for. Hopefully they accept me. Somebody, if you guys are watching, please push me through to Ute's whitelist. Analyst, alpha caller, artist, working in Web3, meme creator, very important person. I think that's hilarious. And 24/7 contributor. Now, I love all of these. Do you guys feel like they are missing any categories when it comes to the application process?
Dor3ann, go ahead.
Thanks, man. I'm always ready to hop in. So if you want to go ahead first, Joe, go ahead, man.
I'm the B mentality. I'm down to go second. We're on the intake anyway.
Well, my opinion on it, I think it is. They do provide a wide array of categories. However, my thing is like I kind of fall within multiple ones, and I'm like, man, which one am I like? Which one can I do for community manager? Like, if I was going to apply to it, so that was like a little bit of the difficulty for me. It's like, oh man, it's like, would I put it under analyst or alpha caller? Because I do that as a community manager, because I produce this thing called projects to accumulate or whatnot. And I also have a lot of stuff on my Twitter regarding that. But also it's like working in Web3. I'm not just trying to network with people, but I do think it's a sufficient amount of categories, even though people might have a little hard of a time figuring out which category their skills may go under. But I love this system, honestly. It really makes sure that you're trying to provide people whitelist and reward people for actually providing good substance and contributing to the space by just giving some influencer a ton of whitelist. And it does support all skills. So if you're a meme creator and not somebody who's like a community manager, you're still rewarded in that sense. So I think they've done a great job. And I really hope, which I think, and I plan on doing a video on this, is like this might be one of the metas going forward, is which fall in the engage to earn aspect of things, where you'll see a lot of new projects adopting this system, which will promote better quality of people in the overall ecosystem and within each individual community.
Great.
100%.
I mean, I couldn't have answered any better than that, so I'm not even going to try. What I'm going to, I guess, propose here is, could you guys see this application, right?
Mhm.
Legalities are correct. I know Frank hired Yuga Labs lawyers that helped with the ape token, so I know they're on the team. Could you see this product by Dust Labs being rolled out to IRL businesses that are looking for application process, a more cleaner or a different route and outside of the box than a LinkedIn? Or could you see, Web3 business or someone trying to get it and using this, right? And if you can, then you got to think about the market cap coming into Dust that's already being halved and halved and halved and never burned, right? Put into a wallet, anything the team owns. So I think this could, I mean, this isn't speculative, but there could be a chance at real market valuation coming into Dust Labs because of a component, something new like this. That's just a thought, maybe. I don't know. I just wanted to hear your take, Bison, and then Dor3ann. That would be great.
Yeah. No, so I do think this is a really nice, easy way, bro. I don't know the last time you guys had to do a resume. I haven't had to do it in ages, right? But like, I watched my wife is applying for like some teaching jobs right now as far as like colleges go. She's doing it on the side. She's always had a passion for learning, but she hasn't had to update her resume in ages either. And looking at the resume process, bro, it is dreadful. It is awful. And I guarantee you that most of the recruiters or anything like that are not looking like depth, right? They want to see your portfolio of work. I've always thought that artists, that coders, that anything like that, when they pass off a portfolio, it's really cool to see like their interpretation of code, their interpretation of art, right? So when it comes to this kind of stuff like content creation, like memery, when it comes to anything of that aspect, I think it's really cool that you're able to go in. So if I go into a quality content creator, they actually just ask you what the links are to some of your best work. Like they're asking you to literally create a portfolio of work that you can click on. Like it's digital, right? It's not a piece of paper. We're not in Web 2 anymore, man. I think it's literally a great bridge to just push the envelope further. So yeah, I actually do see the practicality of it. I think that DeGods is obviously in the best position to advance this further. So if it was any other project, I'd be like, this is kind of a non-event, but it's DeGods, and it's Frank, and it's Soul Sorcerer and the whole team, right? Like they are goats, they are legends, they are very good at outreach, and I think their outreach expands beyond just the Web3 universe, right? So I think this is a great tool. I hope it's adopted on not just more projects, but in IRL stuff as well. And yeah, I hope to see this as like moving forward. Fuck resumes. We get more Utes lists, right? Like, let's Utes this shit.
Joe, like your analysis of practical application on this is amazing. Like, I completely agree with you, man. Like, I could definitely see this being used by, I don't know, DeFi projects looking for people where they're like, show me your work. What did you do? And use that as the application process, vice this whole Web 2 resume thing. So yeah, man, you and Bison hit the nail on the head, and I agree with both of you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is good. I actually, like I said, I loved the fact that Utes was coming in. Man,
I'm smiling behind this, guys, by the way. I'm very happy. I'm not mean. I wish I could show my face.
No, that's okay, bro. You have a great reason. Honestly, like, I love that some people are, I think Dor3ann actually made a little post about it. Like some people are so anti-dox and then they like end up doxing their wife or something like that. Yeah, it's so funny. But it's usually for like no reason at all. But Joe, if you don't want cross-pollination between your Web 2, you want to keep things separate. Like,
yeah, you're good, man.
Bro. Like that makes so much sense. Now me, I don't care, right? Like I got a personal brand. I run my own shit. I'm already like face forward. If you really wanted to, not very hard to find me. By my face. So yeah, it happens. But
I hope to get there one day. I hope to get there. Crypto's made me very paranoid, though. To be honest with you,
bro, I don't blame you at all.
No, I don't blame you, man.
It should. It should. So let's talk about post Utes, right? Like post Utes, we're gonna see a ton of secondary plays. I guarantee you, this thing's probably shooting 200K SOL easy on its first day. I would not be surprised at all. There's just so much sideline capital. There's so much sideline capital.
and they're going to be ready and firing. And if Taiyo does it right, which I know they're going to, they'll be there to capture that liquidity. And I'm not going to miss it. I will be holding some pilots, baby.
Yep. So that brings us to our second point. Dor3ann, I really want to lean in on your knowledge of the whole Taiyo ecosystem, because, you know, we heard Tom talk the other day on Alex's space. And honestly, I always forget how refreshing it is to hear Tom's take on everything. He is not frank, and I don't expect him to be. He's more on the like,
Tech
I'm building tech shit, right? Whereas Frank's like, I'm kind of integrating tech shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. So he has to be a little more forward facing. Whereas Tom's like, whenever I make an appearance, like, it's really good, but I'm also in the background building shit. So talk to me a little bit about pilots. What's your take on pilots? What do you think is going to be the huge value proposition for them?
So pilots is another thing that falls under my theory about the engage to earn meta that's coming up. So what pilots is like, they don't want to call it a Gen 3, but you can refer to it as a Gen 3 of the Taiyo ecosystem. It's the brand facing lore aspect of it to really bring more people in. Because right now, Gen 1 and Gen 2 Taiyos, the entire collection size is about only 32 to 3,500. So it's pretty small. So the collection size of pilots is going to be 12.5K. And this 12.5K is going to be split up into 4 different factions. Now, I know there was a tweet recently about looking for leaders of each of these factions. But the way pilots is going to work is that when Graphite is released, which their private seed rounds are being closed on, and once the IDO for that is finally done and Graphite's been implemented, which will replace Scrap, pilots will be able to go on these missions to earn Graphite or adjust their customizations to their pilots. So you'll be able to, I don't know, go like this one person's tweet. Boom, you earn something like that. Attend Taiyo Tuesday. So there hasn't been a lot of details beyond like the surface level of what these missions will encompass, but I'm sure Tom will have a great interface to interact with, and also some cool missions to help engage and push the brand of the Taiyo community. And one thing that is great about being rewarded in Graphite is that Graphite's seeking to be sustainable. Under the Graphite ecosystem, it's going to be 2 sides, the business-to-business model and the business-to-consumer model. Under the business-to-business model, Tom is going to be licensing out a lot of the tech stuff that he's been developing over all these months, and people will have to pay in Graphite. So that should help stem off the sell pressure of Graphite, as we've seen in the past with Scrap. Under the business-to-consumer model, which that's going to be the most value to holders, is that Gen 1 and infants or Gen 2 will be able to stake to earn Graphite, while pilots will be able to earn it through these missions. And you can spend that Graphite on whitelist, because the business-to-consumer model, Taiyo will be incubating projects. So part of the projects they incubate, a portion of their a portion of their mint supply has to be given to Taiyo to mint in Graphite. So Taiyo pilots and anybody in the Taiyo ecosystem will have a leg up of anybody trying to get into these hype projects because they already have Graphite. So I think that's one of the main selling points of pilots, is being able to already earn Graphite by and using that Graphite to get hype whitelist and hype mints whenever the bull market comes back around. Sorry if that was like super long.
No, that was good. Yeah, I literally know probably 5 to 10% of what I should know about pilots. So it's good. I know enough that I can probably make an educated guess. Dor3ann, my question for you real quick is, I said that Scrap is probably up next after Dust. Yeah. Do you know if they're going to do a 1-to-1 conversion of Scrap to Graphite?
Yeah. So Taiyo has been burning Scrap for as long as since Tom has taken over the project. Anything that you do within the ecosystem, Scrap is burned. So Tom is trying to burn as much Scrap as possible, because there will be a 1-to-1 swap for Scrap to Graphite. I think there might be a vesting period for Taiyo holders on some of this Graphite, so it's not immediately dumped. But there will be a 1-to-1 swap.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and 43% of the total supply has been burnt already. So when pilots come out, the team's not making money off of pilots. All pilots will be minted in Scrap, so all that Scrap will be burnt. So we might see some good price action, as we saw with Dust, going towards Scrap next. But everybody's so focused on youth right now. It's like once that's done and pilots comes up, it's like I think this will be the next thing, as you said, Bison.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, do you have any opinions on Scrap right now?
Oh yeah, well for sure. Now that I know that, because before actually Bison, I think we were in a Hello Moon space, and Bison brought that up, and I actually said because we talked to a Manny, who I don't know if is a community manager, a mod, or just a fan of Taiyo, but he said that there wasn't going to be a 1-to-1. So now hearing that and seeing this chart as a trader, this is when you want to buy, right?
Right.
And honestly, probably a little bit late. You probably want to buy before that last volume spike, right? Back when it touched like the generational floor there. You know what I'm saying? So to me, as a trader, this as a 1-to-1 swap, there is no hype on it yet. This is a contrarian play. This is almost a no holds bar play here. Sorry about that.
No,
you're good, man.
No, for me, it just makes sense. Like this has so much room to grow. Like if I'm looking at this chart, holy shit. Like, okay, for me, if I'm taking a trade, not financial advice, do your own research. I'm waiting for it to cross this like 0.4 threshold. Obviously we saw some huge accumulation plays. Look at that volume right there. Like that's what you love to see. That's exactly what we saw with Dust. Literally, like if we go look at the Dust chart right now, you saw that same shit happen where people were buying the very bottom, and we can see it in the smart money outflow. Although I still think it's a little too early to sell your Dust, but not financial advice. You can see this. Like, this is what I like to see. Look at that fucking volume, dude. Like, shit, yeah. And we're seeing it with scrap right now, too. Like, dude, if I can get scrap at literally, do you know how much it's going to cost? I know they're taking like a variable cost for scrap on the pilot's mint.
No, the pilot's mint is going to be 295 scrap. So if you get in right now, that's like 2.4 SOL per mint. So like even if you don't mint, it's like pick up some scrap now. Worst that happens is like, oh man, I lost 2.4 SOL. There's plenty of degens out there that have went in that heavy on a degen mint and lost it all on a rug pull. So it's like there's really minimal downside and super high upside for just picking up enough scrap now.
Just picking up enough scrap. And what I wanted to say is there's no marketing yet, right? Pilot, they dropped the trailer that was really, really nice. They left it ambiguous. They let you know, figure it out. Tom bought a position of the company. He liked it so much. Things you can build on your own. I think you start stacking here regardless. Once marketing comes out, alone is going to bring in a bunch of volume, because there's a lot of people that are deep into the space like myself that had no idea about the 1-to-1 conversion. That alone will cause people to go and buy a bag, right? NFA, I'm not, hypothetically not saying what I'm going to do maybe on Hello Moon later, but swapping wise, you know what I'm saying? It might be smart now. So yeah, that's a great call out, Bison. Very, very good. And thank you, Dor3ann, for clarifying that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I'm very curious, dude. It's funny to see like these businesses take on social gamification. And I really do think that's kind of like the next like entrenchment of NFTs, where it's like, hey, how can we make it like rewarding for people to actually participate in the ecosystem? Because once we saw a saturation of NFTs in the Solana ecosystem, it felt like people were like, I got Discord fatigue, bro. Like I literally, there's a handful of Discords I stay in. I'm in so many, dude. I capped out at like 200 or whatever it was. And I had to like go through and like purge everything. I got tired of Discord. So it's like community participation decreased because we were minting something every single day. I stopped getting into Discords because I'm like, look, if I'm a trader, I need to have no emotional attachment to it. If I get into a Discord, somebody's going to say something bullish, I start getting a little bit of sentimental. And it just didn't make any sense for me. So now that we have some sort of gamification of social interaction, I think people are going to stay longer. I think people are going to find inventive ways, and it won't be Discord either. It's going to be like community outreach. So seeing something like pilots, seeing something like, Utes with their Ute list, and like, actually seeing what you're bringing to the table in order to get Ute listed. I'm sure it's not going to stop there. We don't know full details on Utes just yet, but dude, there's so much going for Utes, bro. I love the thing that got me most bullish on Utes was the fact that John Lay got hired as art director. I mean, like, dude, as somebody who recently like started going balls deep into the 1-on-1 space, like I cannot tell you how fucking bullish that is. So
and mobile applications haven't even dropped yet, and we've had like 20-some thousand mobile. And you got to think how many people in this world that are lucky enough to be in Solana, where 10 Solana is their whole life, right? And they only have a mobile phone or an access to a friend's mobile phone. So that alone is going to bring in a lot of players as well. So I mean, this place it's only now scraping the surface of what it could be in the infrastructure they're building. But the liquidity it's going to bring into the market alone is what we're hoping is going to help the whole market, right? Then pilots, and hopefully we can couple a lot of other really good projects that are building and care about the ecosystem and are tied in with other projects that care about the ecosystem, and we have a compounding snowball effect. And that's what I'm hoping to bring us into the bull market.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
100%. No, I was gonna, Dor3ann, if you have any closing remarks on Taiyo, I was gonna move on to the next talking point and the next cycle I see happening.
It's not really closing points on Taiyo, but it's like you're talking about that aspect of people being able to engage and be rewarded for engaging. And Bubblegoose is also doing something similar with their, I know they're trying to integrate a raid platform or whatever to track and reward people for actually participating. So that's why I'm like, after seeing what Youth is doing and after seeing what Taiyo's doing and all these other top projects, Bubblegoose isn't top yet, but I know they're attached to Catalina, which is already, I consider it a top project, even though it has suffered a pullback. But what hasn't? But once these things are implemented, and especially in a bull market, we're really going to see these top projects who have these engaged to earn ways solidified, and the ones that bring the value to the most holders are going to be the ones successful. So I'm really bullish on Taiyo coming into the next bull market. Really bullish on whatever Utes and D-Gods has cooking. I'm really bullish on whatever Bubblegoose has cooking. And yes, I do own all these projects, so except D-Gods and Utes. And I'm also bullish on whatever Catalina has cooking.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about this. This is actually a perfect segue into what I actually think. So let's say Utes goes off without a hitch. We get liquidity in the market. Everything's back to bullish. Pilots then feeds off that momentum and they pump more momentum into the market. Then we start seeing bullish sentiment happen again. And then we start seeing more mints. We start seeing, I know so many projects that are sidelined right now because they are just waiting for Utes mint. They're like, why am I going to compete with this when everybody's saving their liquidity for Utes? So with that said, I think one of the biggest plays for me, now that we've seen this major crash from Catalina, is that, dude, once I start making profits from those two, I think Catalina is going to be right after them. The reason being is because Catalina is the like mint pass for everything that WAGMI Beach has to offer. And if you think there is a more connected team in the Solana ecosystem, you are dead wrong. Reason being is because they just had on Bubblegoose Radio Seth Green. So if you guys don't know who Seth Green is, he actually came on talking like Chris Griffin. It was fucking hilarious.
Awesome.
If you guys haven't missed, or if you guys missed it, go check out the recording. I was crying laughing. It was so good listening to literally the creator of Boondocks, or I guess one of the producers, the creator of Black Dynamite, talking with Seth Green, who's such an integral role, a Family Guy. Like, how can you not think that they're going to pull off like a massive Web3 like adult cartoon that's going to be fucking hilarious? Like, there's no shot. They're gonna have Tracy Morgan on Friday, the Tracy Morgan, like that. You cannot think, or it's Thursday, right? So next Thursday or this Thursday, they're going to have on Tracy Morgan. I'm very excited to hear that one as well. But I'm just looking at this chart, and it's just, I wish I had submitted my Hello Moon TA analysis because it was going to be on Catalina. It was up here, and I was like, hey, I think there's going to be one leg down to where this supply zone is, and then we're going to start seeing a rocket back up. I love seeing that we're plateauing here. Listings aren't really happening. There's nothing really happening right here. There's no sell pressure, but there's no buy pressure as well. So I think there's going to be a plateau here. And I think it's going to happen until we start seeing Utes pop off, and then we're going to start seeing pilots pop off, and then the bullish sentiment's going to happen again. And if I want any piece of ecosystem, WAGMI Beach is right up there with the top three, right? So your guys' take on Bubblegoose Ballers and Catalina Whale Mixer. What do you guys got?
I got a lot, Joe, but I don't want to.
Joe, do you have anything to say on these two?
We can't hear you, Joe.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we hear you now.
I'm going to keep mine quick and easy here. I love the whales. I love Bubblegoose Ballers. I've owned both. I traded both. I've taken profits on both. I'm actually looking for entries back in. I'm actually looking for entries back into Taiyo, not back in, but actually into Taiyo, Gen 1 preferably. And I'm looking for a couple Bubblegoose and one whale actually as well. And this is because, I mean, like you said, Bison, they're connected within the space. I mean, their NFT NYC, they had Diplo on a roof deck, like just little nuances like that. I mean, you're telling me Tracy Morgan, Seth Green, I didn't even know about that stuff. I mean, it's just amazing. So go ahead, Dor3ann. I'm signing off, but yeah, I love the team.
That's exactly it, man. It's like this is probably, I would argue, the most well-connected team on Solana and probably even ETH, man. There is no team out there that will be able to provide unique experience such as Catalina Wells. They'll be able to rival Bored Apes. The founder of Catalina Wells discovered Martin Garrix. Like, who can compete with that? Like, literally, who can compete with that? Freaking founder of Bubblegoose, Carl Jones, he's created and worked with some famous people such as Tiffany Haddish, Samuel L. Jackson, among many other people, Cat Williams. Like, come on, yo. If you don't think they're going to leverage their position to provide once-in-a-lifetime experience to holders, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And it's like, just wait till, like you said, he had Diplo on a rooftop. Like, come on, dog. That's insane, man. Having Seth Green join Twitter Spaces, that's insane as well. Just wait until you need a Bubblegoose or a Well to access one of these private events with some, like, a multiple high exclusive people. And I'm sure the floor price is going to rise up. And there's no better utility in the world than being networked with those type of people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, floor price going up is probably the best utility right now.
Yeah,
but
I mean, that'll make the floor price goes up.
Hey, that chart you played though with that supply zone is a great call, just from a trading aspect. And NFTs, it's cool to see because TA on NFTs are, there's ifs and buts because of the volume. But if there's steady volume or the lack of volume, either or, you can make some plays with TA. So that's a great call there. I love seeing that, Bison.
Yeah, I'm just, it's more so about timing right now because I think this is a great buying point, but I don't want to, I've always said, like, in the long run, one of the big things I've tried to get across ever since I got into crypto is like the capital lockup period, right? So what I mean by that is like, hey, when you are buying something, you are forfeiting the opportunity to buy into something that may pump quicker, right? So it's like the stages of trading for me is like managing your emotions 90% of the game right there, right? Then it's also, okay, how do I identify good plays? And you might identify a good play, but then the next tier is timing it, right? So it's finding out like, hey, when's momentum popping off? Like, is it better to buy in now and wait 2 more months for it to go up, like maybe 2 SOL, 3 SOL to 40 and breaks that 40, 47 point? Or is it better to trade that breakout? For me personally, like, I'd rather lose out on that profit, have more liquid on hand, and wait for that breakout. Now, if I start seeing things pop up, like that's what makes an elite trader for me. I'm still mastering it. I know many people are, but for right now, I'm not buying more whales, but I want to real bad. Why wouldn't you? As a long-term investor of whales, I think I will hold on to my one forever. It's locked in my ledger. I don't really care to trade it. I think it's one of the best looking whales in the collection, but more so, I'm actually looking to move. I'm sad because I touched the diamond. If you guys haven't seen the touch the diamond thing, which is their soft staking, basically to get an OG status, you can go ahead and connect to your wallet. I'm not going to do it because I haven't connected to the wrong wallet. But basically, you get OG status. I'm guaranteeing you right now it's going to come up with some cool pieces. They're talking about figurines. I guarantee you there's going to be a soundtrack. So they tease something with Megan Thee Stallion. As far as like a music video and stuff, I guarantee you're going to get like an NFT version of the soundtrack for Bubblegoose. This is all speculation stuff, but that's like, those are the kind of things that, like, bro, I don't care about your founder's coin. It's really ironic that it came up. Like, you're paying 5x the price of gold in order to get this digital piece that you can redeem for gold. Also, by the way, and I'm not trying to fund anybody's bags or anything. This is RareFUD Radio. We're trying to keep the vibes immaculate, but
I made a post about this right before we got on, and I said, "Are we still okay?" And, I mean that and wholeheartedly. Like the holders IMO they deserve more, because the truth of the matter is there's only 730 listed, and I know there's some whales, but a lot of people are holding on to their bear because they spent all their liquidity and all they had on one, right? And then you get them not hiring the correct devs to do the back end work. I mean, it's just stuff that's like, if you're making that much money, you have the most volume on the Solana network, you have so much profit that you can take a little time to care about your holders. And I don't care about anything that is said verbally. I'm a man that works off of what is done in an action standpoint. And there's no actions being taken other than a founder's coin, some 5 grams, 1 gram of gold, that's $55. And then what are you going to melt it down to sell it? You can't just sell a coin. Like, there's not instant liquidity. There's nothing there. So it's just like, I just think they deserve more, and that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
that was well said, man. I'm right there with you, dude. It's like, for me, you have the highest volume on the network, but it's like your team cannot properly execute a staking platform. And that's my whole focus. It's like, who are the founders and can they execute? And if you're failing to execute with wristbands, you're failing to execute with soft staking platforms, when you have the liquidity to do so, it's like, what am I going to still holding on that for? So it's like, I saw one tweet today. Some guy brought it at 245 and sold here at the floor at like, I think 55. So man, I know that person's down bad.
There's still good volume on it too, which is like, there's still solid volume for a project on Solana. It's just
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, man.
This is incredible volume, bro. It's almost hitting 2 million here soon. I guarantee you, honestly. Here's a hot take too. Look, they're taking 7.5% royalties on 2 million in volume. What is that talking about? We're talking about like 150K SOL basically right there. Do you think they care about floor price? Oh my goodness, no! I'm getting spammed right now. I wish I had a mod. Block this user on YouTube. Get away from my damn comments, you son of a bitch. Anyways, yeah, no, my big thing is like, do you think they care about floor price? Honestly, they're making money hand over fist. They failed to deliver soft staking. They could have just gone through, anything like Ceres or Soleil with Cyber Samurai. Dude, there's so many platforms that have actually implemented soft staking to some extent, right? Like you could gamify it. I know you can reach out to remnants. You can reach out to so many other people who have already done this and be like, look, we'd rather do it with some proven people. We already have so much money in the bank. Like, fucking do something professional. And they're like, then what they do, this is what, like, why I think bears are going to zero is like, as a leader, I invest in people, right? Like, that's one of the best things you can invest in right now. It's why D-Gods do so well. It's because Frank and the team are goated. It's why Taiyo does so well. It's because Soulport Tom has like a legion of really gigabrain people. It's why I think Cyber Samurai is a sleeping giant. It's because Shake is such a dope founder. Like, could have walked away, didn't rug, decided to just add on an insane amount of value. Kai's on the meanwhile, and this I hate it, is he made that tweet where it's like throwing the developer under the bus rather than take responsibility. Bro, you made the hire, own that shit. Say we're gonna do better. Have a conversation in private. Don't air out your dirty laundry, and find somebody who's already done it. This is not a new platform. Soft staking is not new. Hibernating is not new. It's just called something different. Like, bro, make something tough. It just grinds my gears. So if this goes to 0-1, I don't think they'll care. Dude, they just made so much money off of this, dude. So much money. If they walk away from it, they're walking away rich. Like, for me, it's like they can put on a front and slow rug the shit out of this. You know what I mean? Like, they can do it. They really wanted to. What's the incentive to make this any better?
No, yeah, man, you're right. You're right. I personally have been bearish, even on OK Bears, when it was taken off to 245 or whatnot, just because I've been in this space long enough to know that I judge profile picks or brand-based collections by if they can survive a bear market. Like, I will never talk bad about Degen Apes, and even sets have been holding up spectacularly in a bear market, and their community's going stronger. OK Bears is shaky. I don't know. Will they make it through this bear market? I'll find out. But if they do make it through and are able to go back to their all-time highs, of course I'll respect the project. But it's like a lot of these brand-based profile pick collections like OK Bears, just because you skyrocketed up that high and you have the most value in the ecosystem, volume in the ecosystem, I'm still bearish on the project. And especially after these botched executions of the founder, I'm bearish on the project.
Right. Joe, we got on our soapboxes. Do you have anything to say about the Bears instead of just checking to make sure they're okay, which I appreciate you doing because I do care about bear holders, right? Like, that's not me not caring about people who are in Web3. Like, if you made a bag, congrats. If you're still holding on to it, I hope you're in profit. If you're not, bro, it's okay. We all made bad trades before.
Yeah, I agree. I digress mostly. I just think that they're going to, like you said, it's time frame, right? They gave them the founder coin. Now, how long is it going to take to implement actually sending IRL gold to each KYC now holder? It's just a lot, right? So it's why are you buying it? Because you like the art, because you want gold. Like, what is the utility? And the community itself has gotten pretty toxic as well. So there's, and this is any sweat towards them, at all. I mean, it's just, I just hope that they come together and they can still have enough funds to revamp and say, hey guys, listen, we tried a lot. We learned a lot, almost like, right? It's okay to say that. It's okay to say we've learned a lot and we've tried a lot. So I think that's where I'm at. They can still come back and save it, but if they just let it go and take another couple months, it might, like Bison said, have a nice trickle down effect. So
yep. Well said, man.
My math is okay. I want to make sure it was $6 million. They made $6 million in royalties, and that's assuming they didn't sell anything into USDC, which I'm sure they're not that dumb.
They even said around $89, $90. They sold almost 60 to 70% of their funds into USD. They said that on Twitter, I think.
Yeah, I mean that was I would imagine that was like initial mint funds as well as initial royalties. So I'm guessing they did like 200K in volume. So I'm gonna guess that's I can't do math right now, bro. My brain.
I'm not a good math person on the fly either.
No, it's like
a lot of money.
mil or something like that. Yeah.
Is that showing OpenSea volume as well?
No. So that's a good question because
I don't know anymore. Do they have cumulative now? Because if it's OpenSea, if it's not, and they have, per se another 100,000 or so on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're saying what 2 million in volume as well. So I'm curious. Let's see if all time. Is that just OpenSea volume? I'm guessing that's just OpenSea volume.
I think that's just OpenSea volume.
Yeah. So it may be like 2 million, like a little north of 2 million, bro. I don't know. I'm just like at the point where I'm happy for anybody who made the bag. I hope they reinvested it well, or they're sitting on the sidelines and they're like, yo, Utes, the way to go. But enough beating a dead bear, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on. There's a couple of different things I want to touch on too. One of the big things that I saw, and I'm very conflicted on it. If we go back to Hello Moon, it is Jelly Rascals. Do you guys know anything about Jelly Rascals? Because I try to do a little bit of research on them. There's if you guys don't know the founder, his name is Carlos. Oh my fucking god! TV. He streams on Twitch. He's a gambling streamer, and apparently the team is goated. Now I haven't found anything that's like sticks out to me. Apparently they're trying to like make a DAO out of an esports team out of a DAO. With the Jelly esports team. I'm not sure, but really all I saw was they have raffles. By the way, if you want some free alpha, if you want to try for a DGOD, they do have one in their raffle store. So if I go to their website, I think it's Jelly Babies NFT. They do have where's their wallet? Jelly auctions. Yeah, if we go to their Jelly auctions, I'm pretty sure they have a DGOD up for grabs right now. So I think raffle tickets are like $6 an entry right now. So feeling lucky, go for it. But do you guys have any idea what Jelly Rascals are trying to do?
Dor3ann, go ahead if you have any answer.
That's all you, man. I don't know anything about them. I've seen their PFPs on Twitter, but beyond that, no idea.
Yeah, yes, I'm just like super curious because
they have the staking obviously for their Jelly token, which has got pretty decent liquidity at the moment. And then they have from there that's like the gelato they call it, which is like their auction house, obviously. So that's one of their utilities. They'll have like right now they have Rascal Air Force Ones. They have a Dead God up there. They have decent auctions. They have E-Jelly, which is their other utility. I'm actually on their website right now. Let's see what this is here. So E-Jelly is seems like to be maybe merch upcoming, and then more jelly auctions. So yeah, I'm not sure, guys. I'm actually trying to figure out. So they definitely have staking. They have utility for staking in their Jelly token. And now are you able to utilize this in gambling as well? Do they have like an esports I'm not sure.
So I think they are coming out with some sort of gambling games or something like that. I'm just perplexed because it ran up hard. Now like I said,
Jelly trade, Jelly 1-for-1, Jelly drop, Jelly flip. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
They have casino esports games coming that you can utilize the Jelly token and get liquidity for it. Okay. Absolutely. So gamified esports. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess my question, maybe we get Carlos on here because I want to know more about the project, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's somebody what we tap into and see what they're doing with the project and
That'd be awesome.
get them in on a future episode. I think that's actually a move right there because this, bro,
Yep.
that's a run up and a half in
Yeah,
2
man.
weeks in this
No,
bear
somebody
market.
knows something. Somebody
Yeah.
knows something.
I want to know what they want to know, you know, like, bro, this 4x'd in like 2 weeks. And that's,
crazy.
and not just like, went from 0.2 to 0.8. They went from 8 to 34. Like they topped out at 34 and they still have momentum. Like that is an insane amount of volume they had leading up to it. Obviously the spike running up to 34. There is something going on. I just want to know more. So I guess that was more or less to put something on the map. Guys, any closing remarks before we wrap it up with a fun little game I have before we wrap it up?
No, nothing from me, man. It was definitely enjoyed talking to you both. Both of you are big brain as hell. So,
all right.
I appreciate you guys, man. This is beautiful. I can't wait to keep this going.
Oh, absolutely, bro. We're taking over. So, quick question for you guys. I want to know, what is one project under 5 SOL that you are targeting right now?
Ooh,
I do have Bison. I have one. I do have one. I'm hesitant to say it because I still want to buy more, but I'm going to say it anyway. Liberty Square. I'm looking into pretty hard right now to actually, accumulate a good amount, a set amount, so I can actually have a say within the community. From a few reasons. My main reason is people I respect in this space and look up to are really into them as well. So that made my first inclination to check them out. And they're just very different. There's something that's very different. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I think it's a decent price point to get in, and I think they have a lot of cool things coming. So that's one for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dor3ann, what do you got?
Oh man, that was actually a good question, man. I honestly, all my stuff I've been looking at has been above 5 SOL. So if I have to say something close to it, I'm gonna go with Bubblegoose. I know it's not exactly what you want, but I think it's close enough. So
Right.
Bubblegoose is just like it has early Catalina Wells feelings for me, and I think it has bigger upside than Catalina just because of the current price point. I just think a lot of the stuff that Carlos Jones has planned for the project, and a lot of the potential utility in the sense of being able to meet people or be attend certain events provides it a high upside for floor price. So I'm gonna have to go with Bubblegoose.
Absolutely. Well, I came up with 5. So Liberty Square was on my list. Joe, you hit the nail on the head with that. I do think there's enough hype that, bro, we see an accumulation range right here. To me, anything under 1.4 looks like a buy to me. And I know a lot of people were targeting the black squirrels or whatever they're called. The ones that have like the armor and shit that look cool as fuck. They're buying them at like 10. So maybe a play right there. Obviously, I got to shill Rems because I love my remnants. Love the team.
Most undervalued game of 5. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think right now anything like sub 5 SOL is fun to me, and I know they're coming out with some really cool stuff. I can't divulge anything just because they haven't officially announced it yet, but it's going to be really cool.
I just left 5 of them. Sorry, guys. I'm like, no, you guys said it's good. I'll pick up 5 at this price point. I don't think it'll be bad.
I mean, I just don't see it going any lower. Like we bottomed out at like 3 SOL. So right now it just feels like a great range. I picked up a few. I'm probably going to pick up a few more so I get to 30. But yeah, I do own that. Shin Sengoku, obviously. Last time I saw them, they're at 0.37 SOL. I know they got a lot of cool shit in the works. I know they got an event coming up. For me, such a cheap entry. With 1 SOL, you can get 3 of them. That makes, like I have spent 1 SOL on far less. Talking a little bit of a longer hold, I have the sweets. So the sweets, if you guys know what the sweets are, they're going to be like a sports metaverse. To me, it's like a sports version of Grand Theft Auto. I saw some of the gameplay. It looks sick, but it's going to take a while. So this is like, for me, looking at the long term, owning a piece of this actual, what I think is going to be a successful metaverse that like people actually want to spend time in, because I think that's a huge downfall of metaverses right now. Is like, bro, what's the point of spending any time in there? At all. I go into Portals, and like Portals is super cool to have like fun little meetings and stuff like that. But outside of that, it's very niche to me. I'm hopeful that downtown, I saw the little preview of it. Doesn't really do anything for me, but the suites, you can actually play games. You can check out photo finish races, which is another one of their projects. They have one of the most talented teams that nobody talks about, all coming from EA Sports and FanDuel. For me, it's a no-brainer. They've developed AAA games. They are going to, for me, it's like Bubblegoose Ballers, right? I think this is an absolute steal at the price, but I know it's going to take a while. So again, I'm not really trying to lock up capital right now, but I am keeping a hard eye on them. I have my Dojo DB set up to give me any alerts if they break the 5 soul range. And then I've had a lot of fun trading milk bottles from Kets. They have found a range. So if I go over to Kets Milk, we can go over to Kets Milk real quick. If I go over to Kets Milk, they have been basically trading anywhere from that mid 4s range all the way up to 10. They've done it a few times, and I've capitalized on it. So this has been a fun trading range for me. I know Joe on Hello Moon Morning, you talked about Just Ape kind of doing the same thing where you have that really established range where you're like, shit, I'm just gonna keep trading this as much as possible, and it's very clear to have a stop loss set. So
trade the trend till the trend is not your friend.
That's right. I mean, it's not rocket science, people. So all right, guys, well, I think that does it for the show. Do you guys have anything else to end on?
No, I'm super. I think this was an awesome first episode. I'm definitely looking forward to chatting it up with you guys more in the future.
Yes, sir.
Man. You guys are both awesome. Bison, you're just an amazing host, man. You're just flawless, man. I'll try to get better as a speaker. And man, I appreciate you guys very much.
No, you did excellent, Joe.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate both of you guys. You guys are underrated goats in the space. I'm excited to grow with you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is going to be our normal time slot, and we'll see you